Here comes the trio, but unlike most marches, there is no key change. That was a demonstration of the march Simoraine by Clive Barraclough. I don't know if I'm playing the style exactly right in this. I have played in a couple of brass bands, but only on E-flat tuba, so I've never played Euphonium in a brass band. However, from what I know, I think I've got it pretty close. It would not be a very fast march. There are a couple of things that are typical of the British style marches. One of those characteristics would be a sudden dynamic change down to piano. In the introduction, for example, there are 3 bars at fortissimo and then immediately a half note at piano, but with an accent. I think most bands would play that more like a forte piano. Maybe something like that. One band that I heard play this did a real smack on that accented piano half note. A very hard attack, but then coming down dynamically with room for a crescendo afterwards. There is another contrast like that in the trio, again playing fortissimo and again to a piano half note, but this time there's no accent. That one is a little more typical of what I'm used to hearing in British marches. Otherwise, this is a lot like playing most marches, where you're trying to play accurately what's on the page, following dynamics, accents, and so on. This one is not marked up quite as much as many marches are. In other words, there aren't quite as many accents, staccatos, and things like that, so you'll have to infer some of those yourself. Let your musicality be a guide, and also if you play this in a band, the band director will tell you probably what is wanted there. One tip that might help you in the first strain, I'll play this very slowly. We're now at a mezzo forte, soon to crescendo to a fortissimo. Now you heard I fumbled a little bit on that slurred triplet because the last 2 notes are the same fingering. That's a little bit difficult to play accurately at whatever tempo might be conducted at that point from in front of the band. So I like to have an alternate fingering ready to go. You can do this 2 ways. that way, or either way, that gives you a fingering change instead of a lip slur, which will help you play it rhythmically more accurately. Here's one more tip that's really not necessary, but you might find it convenient. I'm going to start the metronome. The dynamic overall here is a forte. I'm changing between two notes, between a concert C and a concert D flat, or in the treble clef part, a D and an E flat. While that doesn't seem terribly difficult, in the last measure of that pattern, there's an eighth rest followed by 2/16, then an eighth rest followed by 2/16, changing from 2 and 3 to the fourth valve, which is in this hand down here. Beat up, like that. On a compensating horn like this, you might find it more convenient just to hold the fourth valve down. For a demonstration, I'm going to play that passage again, holding the fourth valve down the whole time. Normally, I would only choose to do that for the final measure I just described. For me anyway, it's a mental relief to not worry quite so much about fingerings in that last measure, so I can really plant those rhythms accurately. So I just keep the fourth valve down, otherwise play it normally. Otherwise, as I say, you play the march as written. Throughout the march, there are some fast changes necessary. In the second strain, for example, it starts 2 bars of piano, then 2 bars of forte, 2 bars of piano, 2 bars of fortissimo. So be ready for things like that. And as I say, just play what's written, add your own style to it, and be ready for any direction to come from the band director. I hope you found this helpful. As I mentioned, I'm not an expert playing this march. I've never played it before. A follower on Instagram sent me a copy and asked me what I thought of it. It's a very interesting march. It's very challenging to sight read, however. Unfortunately, I can't share this part with you as I often do because I don't believe this march is public domain. You might be able to find it, however, in a library or perhaps online if you look around. Anyway, it's a great march to play. It's fun to read and it's just fun to play. It's a challenge for your style. It's a challenge for dynamic contrast. And it's a challenge for clean tonguing. If you can find a copy of this, give it a try. I think you'll have fun. Thanks for listening.